Here it comes from the fabulous penthouse studios of Business 1110 KTEK. This is The Price is Right. This is The Price of Business. Author of the hugely influential Empowerment to the People, award-winning, nationally syndicated columnist Kevin Price brings a fresh perspective to business news and the events that shape our lives. And now, here is the star of The Price of Business, Kevin Price.
Welcome to The Price of Business. I'm William Edmondson, service industry executive, consultant, and entrepreneur, and for Kevin Price. As always, we're here to talk about you and your business. Portions of the show are sponsored by Prescription Fitness. Well, I'd like to get right into our show and want to welcome our first guest. He's an industry pioneer and thought leader in the service office industry, and he's president and CEO of Alliance Business Centers. I'd like to welcome Frank Cottle. Welcome, Frank.
Thank you, William.
Yeah, glad to have you here.
Pleasure to be with you and your audience.
Well, thank you. Well, Frank, you're an expert on many things in the industry, including executive suites, co-working, and virtual offices. But for this segment, I'd like us to focus on the topic of virtual offices, which really has been gaining popularity.
Well, virtual offices have been a mainstay of our industry for many years. Mm-hmm. But you're right, William. The popularity or the increase in their use and the flexibility in the way they're used has been growing exponentially over the last, well, really since the beginning of the recession and us coming out of it a bit.
Sure. Well, tell us, a lot of the listeners may not have heard of the term virtual offices, so why don't you walk us through that?
Well, in our industry, which is the serviced office industry, we generally combine people, place, and technology with a highly flexible service agreement in order to replace what one would consider the traditional unserviced office that you might find in a conventional office building. Mm-hmm. And a virtual office really is an entry-level product for some and a mainstay for others because it reduces the cost tremendously by reducing the commitment to any real estate at all. It allows a company to create and have a presence at a location or multiple locations and have a staff supporting them, but they just come and go as they need. You can imagine if you could receive your mail at Starbucks and when you walked in, instead of just handing you coffee, the receptionist or the Starbucks barista handed you all of your messages from your clients, gave you your mail and your FedEx packages, and then a private conference room to meet with a client or a guest.
Right.
How would that be?
Yeah, that'd be swell, wouldn't
it? That'd be pretty good. That'd be pretty good. Well, most business centers these days actually serve a premium coffee.
Sure.
So I think you can accomplish that just by utilizing a virtual office within our industry.
Yeah, talk to us a little bit about the type of people that use virtual offices, because it's not just the solopreneur, it's way more than that.
No, it really is, and especially with the trend shifts in employment these days. Mm-hmm. Here's a quick illustration of a large corporate user, Global Corporate 1000, Fortune 1000 type user as an example.
Right.
5 years ago or 10 years ago, a sales manager had an office in a corporate or regional headquarters, and they had a sales team that also had offices and desks at that same corporate or regional headquarters. Mm-hmm. But the sales team was really out on the road most of the time. If they weren't, they probably weren't good sales.
That's for sure.
But they still tied up a lot of assets of the parent company. Today, that same company might have a sales manager in a business center, and each of their salespeople would be working from the road, but tied to the sales manager via a virtual office where all of their correspondence, all of their meetings, all of their telephony, live reception services were handled just as it had been in the corporate office previously, but today it's done on a distributed basis, and the reduction in cost for the corporate provider is huge. they can take a total allocable overhead cost per employee from around $1,500 on average in the U.S. down to about $150. So it's a tremendous reduction. It also reduces their balance sheet commitment because not just operating costs are lower, but they don't have a long-term commitment to space that they may or may not be using in the future.
Right, and one of the problems with those long commitments for companies is if business goes up or business goes down, you've got the space you've got.
Yeah, you're stuck either way.
Right.
And what most companies have done historically, because everybody in business is a bit of an optimist, they take what they need today and then they say, and in the next 3 or 5 or 7 or 10 years, we're going to need this much more.
Right.
And in order to secure their operations, they really take more than they need, and then they have to carry that burden.
Yeah.
With a virtual office, that all goes away. The other benefit is really to the employee or the independent contractor themselves that works for that company.
Mm-hmm.
Because historically they had to travel to that corporate or regional headquarters to get anything done. And today in a distributed format, their virtual office or their flexible office they might have through a business center or co-working center might be very close to where they live. Reduces their travel time, reduces pollutants, things of that nature, or reduces road congestion. A whole variety of benefits that come through all around. And virtual officing for contractors who were previously employees of companies is really the preferred way of working now because of the convenience and allowing yourself to work where you want or nearby where you live. And it's more of it's as much of a lifestyle benefit as it is an economic benefit.
You know, Frank, you make a really good point. It is, but there's another thing that I've seen with people with virtual offices is if you work at home all the time, you don't get interaction with people. By having a virtual office, you get to network, you get to see people, you get to kind of fuel your cells that way.
Well, you do, and it's a great way to manage a team on a broad geographic basis without having to have committed assets. The other issue around virtual officing that's interesting is that for a small company, or even a large one for that matter, these days almost every company that I know of is international.
Right.
Most companies have one or more employees outside and away from their core offices. Could be an outsourced employee in another location. And invariably, they have a customer or a supplier that is offshore or outside of their home territory.
Sure.
By creating a virtual office in another zone, you can service your customers better, you can service your suppliers better or interact better with your suppliers, and if you do have offshore employees, you can create continuity that helps them to succeed as well. So everybody uses virtuals these days, from solopreneurs to mid-sized growth companies, large global corporate 1,000 organizations, and even government. We have any variety of state, federal, and local agencies as clients that like virtual officing because it gives them an outpost office and it stays well within their budget. So it's even saving us taxpayers a few dollars in many respects.
Boy, that's nice to see.
We just hope they take real advantage of it.
Exactly. Well, and Frank, you actually practice what you preach with your company. You've got people not in one office, but all over the map.
Yes, we have a global team. We're operating in 47 countries right now, and we do keep virtual offices in every location and in every country for our own corporation and use them accordingly. It's a great way to keep track of things, create a local presence, even though your corporate headquarters, like ours, might be in California. We have a global presence that is able to be managed very easily and cost-effectively through the use of virtual offices.
Great. Well, we're starting to run low on time, but one thing I would like to touch on, We've got a lot of listeners who may have a small business of their own. Tell us some of the benefits about having a small business. Maybe they even work from home, but having that address that comes with the virtual office.
Well, if you work from home and you're starting a business, I'll start with the most important thing, and that's money. Oftentimes, if you're using your home address and you're using a cell phone to start your business with, and then you apply for a corporate credit, the banking systems, the way credit is issued, the banking systems will look to your address and your phone number. They'll spot that it's a mobile, and they'll look at your address and they'll say, well, that address is a residential address, not a commercial address, and it's not zoned for the type of business that company's in.
Right.
We're just not going to give them any credit. So there's some things as fundamental as that to the difference in credibility when you're dealing with customers. That's always important for startups, for all companies for that matter.
Sure. And
even for government agencies. Having a credible location where you can conveniently meet people instead of having to meet them in a coffee shop, a place that has meeting rooms, board rooms, training rooms, and private offices to use for meetings, and a staff to support you. That is a huge advantage. And all that can be had for as low as $100 to as high as maybe $250 a month, which is nothing compared to the cost of a conventional office.
Right, and if you need more stuff, it's a la carte. Well, quickly tell us...
It's all a la carte, absolutely.
Yeah. Quickly tell us, very briefly, we've got about a minute left, tell us about Alliance Business Centers and give us your website.
Alliance Business Centers has been in the serviced office industry since 1979. One of the pioneers, as William said, in the industry. We operate about 700 locations in 47 countries around the world, and our website are abcn.com and alliancevirtualoffices.com. We're very easily found through any of the search engines, and we're happily supporting about 400,000 customers worldwide right now.
Fantastic. Well, Frank, it was great to have you on. Again, you've been listening to Frank Cottle, Chairman and CEO of Alliance Business Centers. We'll be back with more of The Price of Business right after this.
How long has this been going on?
This is not an offering to sell a franchise. Franchise offerings are made through the franchise disclosure document. Ask for details. For a unique business opportunity with a leader in the $34.5 billion quick casual restaurant segment, consider Tropical Smoothie Cafe. They offer healthier alternatives to fast food with innovative sandwiches, wraps, smoothies, and more, fueling double-digit system-wide sales growth. Tropical Smoothie Cafes are opening every week, so don't wait. See for yourself at their Richmond location and call 1-800-239-1889 to learn more. That's 1-800-239-1889.
Carlton Staffing is a full-service staffing firm placing office, accounting, and industrial employees, both temp and direct hire, along with their technical division, Carltech, which places engineering and IT professionals. If you're tired of high turnover and all the problems that come from that turnover rate, unfinished projects, unhappy customers, and the time it takes to recruit and hire new staff, then contact Carlton Staffing today. Take the stress and expensive recruiting, interviewing, and hiring off your company and let Carlton Staffing fill your positions quickly with the right person. Contact Carlton Staffing at carltonstaffing.com. That's carltonstaffing.com. Carlton Staffing, making connections that work.